Hello there, gang, and welcome to a very special episode of Model Behaviour where I'm joined by my new co-host, for this episode at least, Charlotte. Charlotte, say hello to everyone.
Yeah, hello everybody.
We're going to do something a little bit special here. I'm so used to talking to myself because I love my conversation, but now I want to tell you about a certain Marvel comic book story. I'm going to take you through The King in Black.
Bum, bum, bum.
Now, you requested a Venom story.
Yes, anything Venom.
Yes, okay, so, before I go into this, I want to know, what is your starting point with Venom? Tell me who Venom is to you.
Venom to me is the Tobey Maguire movies version of Venom. And then, yes, there is the newer Venom, but for me, it's always going to be the Tobey Maguire era
Okay, see,
of Venom.
that's always so interesting, because I think long-term comic book fans like myself need to remember that everything that we see is someone's first example of something.
Yeah.
So, of course, hardcore comic book fans are like, oh, this is a terrible Venom.
I'm like, that's my favourite that I fell in love with.
Yeah, that's
You
that's
can't
your
take that
jam.
away from me.
It's what I call it's the Star Wars prequels effect, where for a lot of people that is their Star Wars.
Yeah.
So
I don't
appreciate
agree
that.
with the Star Wars sequels things though. The prequels are not the originals.
Might have to
me.
get you back on for another episode about that.
Okay, we'll
That's
come back to that.
So your introduction to Venom was Topher Grace, Tobey Maguire,
Yes.
Spider-Man 3. Okay.
The scene with the metal. Oh, so satisfying.
But here we're talking about the King in Black.
Ba-ba-da.
We have come a long way since then. Venom is a well and truly established good guy. It's so much so that he's got over his beef with Spider-Man as well. They're boys.
Thing of the past.
And now not only is Eddie Brock, he's with his symbiote, and they're
His
essentially
little symbiote friend.
his little buddy. It's a bromance. Yeah. So not only is Venom a good guy now, but he's also a dad. He is the dad of Dylan Brock, his son.
I love the name Dylan.
I tell you what, it fits.
Yeah.
Dylan's a cool character. He's a good kid, but he's wrapped up in a whole lot of bad stuff.
Symbiote stuff.
Exactly, because at the start of this story, the King in Black is coming.
That looks so cool.
This is a splash page. What a way to open this story.
Yeah.
This is where we meet Venom. He's still the lethal protector. He's looking out for the little guy. He's taking care of his son. He's bonded with his symbiote. Unfortunately, there's this character called Knull, who is the King in Black, who is the god of the symbiotes, the god of darkness.
What's happening with the Avengers?
This is why this is such a big deal. This is an Avengers level story. Basically, if you like the Marvel Universe, we're getting everyone. We're getting the Avengers, we're getting the X-Men, we're getting Doctor Strange.
All of it.
Yeah, everyone is in on this. Because in the previous story, boy, I told you this was going to take an hour. I'm going to be as quick as I can do. In a previous story, Carnage. You familiar with Carnage?
Yes, Carnage.
Yeah. So Carnage wanted to reawaken the god of the symbiotes. Because the symbiotes all have this hive mind, this shared intellect. So he managed to tap into that and he found out, wait a minute, there's this terrifying, evil, existential nightmare that could destroy the world?
Let's get him in.
Let's bring him in! So Carnage succeeds in doing that. He dies in the process, but the King in Black... Oh, don't feel sad for Carnage. It's
No,
Carnage.
but again, I'm always like, I like the bad guys. It's the same with Harry Potter. I love Bellatrix.
Oh, well,
I like the unhinged, kooky versions.
Oh, you're gonna love Knull.
Yeah.
Oh, he's great. Oh, I'm so excited to introduce you to Knull. And Eddie, again, I love it when comic book characters use common sense. He was like, okay, this god of darkness is coming. I better tell the Avengers. I better let the Fantastic Four know.
Let everybody know. Get a whole gang together.
Exactly. So this opening splash page is him saying, yo, he's pinged out a text message to the group, essentially. He's like, the King in Black is coming. So he goes to see his son Dylan. This is Dylan that we're looking at here.
Oh, he's only young.
He's a wee
baby.
He's a wee bairn. He's a wee bairn, but he's actually one of the most powerful characters in this story as well.
Strong
because
baby.
Okay, super quick. He's not actually technically a normal biological child.
Of course not.
Of course he's not.
Because who is?
Okay, let's see if I can condense
universe?
this down into the shortest number of words. First of all, he was introduced as Eddie Brock's little brother that he didn't know about. Then it turns out he was his son. Then it turns out that actually he was his... Oh, jeez Louise. Eddie Brock's wife,
Yes.
ex-wife,
Yes.
she got the Venom symbiote on her for a time. She was shot, she needed to be healed, so he put the symbiote on her. When the symbiote was attached to her, it actually combined her DNA with Eddie's and its own and created this symbiote child in her. So
Okay.
it was kind of like the virgin birth.
Yes.
But way more.
But still Eddie's.
Way more goopy. It's Eddie's DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, this kid is something new. He's never happened before.
Alien
so
human
he
hybrid
has
thing.
exactly alien human symbiote. Weird comic book writing hybrid. So he's got a lot going on there. So Eddie comes to sort of say, hey, all right, it's go time now. It's about to hit the fan.
Oh, we do have the whole gang.
We got the whole gang. This is the Avengers right here. So we got Captain America, we got Tony, we got Captain Marvel, and we got She-Hulk here as well. And again, like, these guys aren't slouches.
No.
Yeah,
They'll be on it.
And so they've got a little defense mechanism lined up in outer space. We have the symbiotes all arriving or
They have
coming
wings.
into orbit. These are symbiote dragons. This is like the advanced party of symbiotes who are coming to Earth. And so Tony has manufactured all of these weapons in space. He's converted all of these ships into bombs that are essentially just going to be like a minefield that will hopefully, blow these guys out of space. And Tony's very proud of himself. He likes blowing stuff up.
Yeah.
Tony Stark is great fun in this story. He's a blast. He really is. So he wipes out the first wave. But yeah, guess what? There's a whole lot more. So New York they're going to have a bad time.
I need to get into the comic books because these do just look gorgeous.
The artwork is absolutely stunning. I embarrass myself by not being able to recall the name of the artist, which is ridiculous because he's one of my favorite artists. Because anytime he does a comic book, I'm like, yep, you're doing fantastic work. I see Eddie's kind of like, he's got a bit of a Jesus beard thing going on now. He's very much like the symbiote messiah.
It's like an old retired dude.
Well, that's it. This Eddie is kind of he's tired. He's just, that's why he's not beefing with Spider-Man anymore. He's like,
he's grown up.
He's a bit more worldly wise.
He's got other things to do.
So he locks Dylan away in like a safe room. He's like, okay, you sit this one out, kid. Okay, he's not gonna sit this out.
Of course.
And New York is essentially just covered in symbiotes. Symbiotes have just invaded the world, and it's pandemonium.
What's happening with?
So you can see that the buildings of New York themselves are just drenched in this symbiote goo. So it's going to be very difficult for the heroes to fight this because it's
everywhere.
Just it's just existential blackness.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a wonderful sort of almost kind of Lovecraftian kind of horror that you're fighting. But again, you see this like little page here. This is Captain America being Captain America, leading the charge. I'm not even. I mean, we're Brits, but I mean, still, it's like Captain America. I'm like, God bless you, sir. God bless you. That's it. So Eddie attempts to kind of get a head start on what's going on. So he tries to tap into the hive mind of the symbiotes to see if he can control them, override them, and sort of effectively counteract them.
Yes.
He can't. And this is
Spy
where
on the inside failed.
What's great about this opening issue is that they just raise the stakes so high as they possibly can do. So all of the symbiotes have attacked New York. It's like, well, wow, it can't get any worse than this, except for the fact that there are these beings called the Celestials. I was going to ask if you're familiar with those.
I haven't watched Eternals.
But
I've watched other YouTube videos of other people explaining what happens in it. So now that rings a bell.
These are celestial. So these are cosmic gods, basically. And, they should be the omnipotent beings.
But they ain't.
They ain't. Because Knull's like, yeah, but what if I put a symbiote on you and then I control you? And guess what? Now I have an army of cosmic beings. So, checkmate, pal.
Yeah.
So that's how you make an entrance. There was a wonderful cinematic masterpiece of 1995 called Batman Forever, in which Jim Carrey says, your entrance was good, his was better. This is one hell of an entrance. So Knull comes on into New York riding inside of a symbiote-clad Celestial, and then he makes his big debut.
Oh,
this
he looks so cool.
Is the fabulous God of the Symbiotes.
He is fabulous. Look at his
Isn't
hair.
he? I know, he's got a L'Oreal thing
Conditioned.
going on there. It's got volume and body.
Platinum blonde.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Knull. He's a fun villain because he's one of those people who just relishes in what he does. He's the king in black. He just wants to turn the world dark,
And
it's
he's
a pretty
doing it.
simple agenda. And he's doing it very effectively. So Knull has made his grand entrance here, and again, I'm not American, but Captain America. Captain America is the first line of defense, stepping forward, and he's just a man.
Are we dealing with OG Captain America here, or some kind of different version of OG?
Captain America.
Woo.
No additives, no preservatives. This is Steve
No
Rogers.
spin-offs.
This is America's ass right here. And of course, yeah, he's the first person to step up to Knull, and he's like, no, you move, pal.
This is my America.
But he does have a secret weapon, and this is one that you wouldn't necessarily be familiar with. Let me tell you about the Sentry.
No, I don't know this one.
The Sentry hasn't made his way into the MCU yet.
Yeah?
But he's one of my favourite characters. So...
Good guy.
Yes and no.
Like middle of the ground guy.
Well, no.
Oh.
So essentially, think Superman.
Okay.
Okay. So Superman, you know, he has the problem with Superman is he's just nigh on unbeatable. So the Sentry's tagline is he has the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. That's his gimmick. He is just the ultimate badass, and he also has a split personality.
And he also has gorgeous hair as well.
There's so much great hair in this. That's why I'm wearing a baseball cap, because I'm feeling self-conscious. The
put
the
mine
hair
away.
is beautiful. So the Sentry, I want to tell you the story real quick, because
Yes.
it is such a cool backstory. He was introduced in our time in the early 2000s, and the idea was that he was a comic book character who existed when all the other comic book characters first were created in the 60s. So
Yeah.
Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, he was there, but his existence was erased from history. And suddenly he's like, wait, I'm here, but you guys don't remember me? No one, like, what happened? And the reason, I'm taking too long with
No,
this.
yeah.
The reason is because he has this split personality. So he is the Sentry, but he's also the Void.
Jacqueline Heidi.
Completely Jekyll and Hyde.
I'm with you.
And the Void is the polar opposite of the Sentry. It's malice and evil and
nasty.
darkness with omnipotent power. So in order to defeat the Void, he basically like took himself out of the world. Everyone forgot about him. He was erased from existence, essentially. So when he came back, he was like, hey, I'm back. And then, oh no,
Nobody
the
knew.
Void's back now as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's an amazing character. I love him because he's
I have sympathy from now.
He's such a good dude.
Yeah.
But he's also got this terrifying existential
He can't help
creature.
that.
So right now he's in control of it. Thank goodness.
Well.
He's in control. And so Captain America is like, okay, Knull, nice to meet you. I got someone who wants to see you. And the Sentry, and again, this is why Captain America is so cool. The most powerful character in the Marvel Universe is like, Captain America, I await your orders, sir. I'm like, ooh, goosebumps,
Yeah.
you know? And Captain America's like, engaged. So he whisks down to the Earth, grabs up Knull, yanks him into outer space. He's like, okay, this is going to go real badly for you. And Knull's got other ideas. Because, unfortunately, Knull is the king of darkness.
I just got attached to this guy.
Yeah, Knull is the king in black. And what is the Void inside him? It's darkness. It's evil. It's the absence of light.
Yeah.
Knull is the god of that. So, unfortunately for the
he's been
Sentry, he rips him in half. And that is like the ultimate mic drop moment.
Oh, I thought it was about to be like, oh, Sentry's just going to turn into a bad version of Sentry. Because
Yeah,
he's a
no,
round
he's just
bad
killed
guy.
him off. No, Knull doesn't need the bad Sentry. He might
I
as well
just
just kill
met
him.
him.
Yeah, no, he's dead now. He's gone. Thanks for coming,
Bye.
Sentry. Don't worry, it's comic books. He'll walk it
He'll
off.
come back.
He'll come back.
He'll have another version.
But that's
somewhere.
just a great baller introduction to Knull. He's like, oh yeah, that's a nice
Strongest
plan
guy
right
you've
there.
got? Nah.
Yeah, let me just like rip him apart like wet tissue paper. Okay, so Knull has made his entrance to New York, and now he's like, okay, well, I'm just going to bring the darkness now. So he envelops the
Whole
entire
world.
Earth
Okay.
in symbiote goo.
End of the world
Yeah,
situation.
so that's where the stakes are right now. So already, is this kind of more than you were perhaps expecting from a
Because
Venom story?
to me, Venom's only ever really gone as far as like a city.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's always got ambitions of bigger, but
But it's a very personal kind of grudge.
Yeah.
And a lot of the best Venom stories are personal, but I wanted to give you something
massive.
Yeah, I thought this would be a lot of fun to play around with here. Because now the world is enveloped in darkness. We got Storm from the X-Men.
Yay.
She's doing what she can do, firing out the lightning, trying to take out the symbiote dragons.
That's a cool visual.
Eddie Brock is connected to the hive mind. So he's trying to communicate with Knull, sort of talk him down, be like, hey, have you... I think probably trying to do the heroic hero thing of like, I'm the one you want. Leave these people alone.
Yeah.
Knull's like... No, I want
I
all of
actually
this.
want all the
exactly.
as well.
I'm not coming for you. I'm coming for everything. And so Knull, again, just as an example of his power, he can use the symbiotes to create whatever he wants. He just gets this great big hand and just yanks Venom up into the air, and he holds him aloft above New York City.
I don't know why I'm clapping. I just like the
because
visual
it's
thought of
hype.
it. Yeah,
Because that's why comic books are so good.
Yeah.
That's why I love talking about them. And so Knull, being the god of the symbiotes, just rips the symbiote off of Eddie Brock. And this, for long-term readers, is kind of heartbreaking because that's
his friend.
That's his symbiote wife. Essentially, they are bonded, and Knull's like, no, that's enough of that. So off you go. And to end the first issue, Knull drops Eddie Brock from the top of a building and is like, peace out. I'm going to go rule the world
He'll be
now.
caught.
Well, I mean, you say that, but he
not
doesn't.
caught.
He's not caught.
Oh.
He crashes pretty hard. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a ruffle, and the first person to his side is Spider-Man.
Yay.
Peter Parker is, just good dude Pete, Doesn't hold a grudge. The absolute nightmare miseries that Eddie Brock has put him through over the years, and he's still like, I gotta help this guy. Something about power and responsibility. I don't know. He's looking out for him. But Eddie is pretty much Deathstorm right here. It's not looking good. And it's looking less good now that the X-Men and the Fantastic Four...
as well.
They're all symbioted up. Yeah, so things are looking pretty bleak. And
they also look really cool at the same time.
The redesigns are badass.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I know this is the end of the world, but at the same time, you guys
look great
awesome.
while doing it.
Yeah, it's lucky that the God of the Symbiotes has great fashion sense. So Peter has a great little moment with Johnny Storm from the Fantastic Four.
Nice.
Because they're great friends. And so Johnny Storm essentially sacrifices himself. He goes to like supernova flame to wipe out the symbiotes around them so Peter can get away with Eddie Brock.
But he's not dead.
Comic books.
He's not dead. It's fine.
Super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Yeah, he just took himself out of the equation for the rest of this story here.
Got Eddie in like a little gift basket.
A little papoose.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's kind of adorable, really. So he whisks Eddie back to the Avengers safe house where they're going to do their best to take care of him, and they have more of these interactions. We've got Black Panther here, Reed Richards and Sue Storm, and this story I'm taking you through are like the 5 main parts of the story. But there are hundreds of tie-in issues. Magneto and Professor X.
But are they actually there?
These are hologram communication projections.
I'm with you.
And this is actually a point in the X-Men comic books where I really I hated the X-Men comics. Because in my opinion, and a lot of people don't agree, but in my opinion, they turned them into a bunch of jerks. Basically. Because they formed their own island nation. And they're like, okay, humans suck. We're going to do our own thing. So peace, deuces. And I'm like, I'm okay with that. But they just act so snobbish.
Yeah.
So this is Blade here communicating with them, saying like, hey, you guys got to come and help us out. And Magneto's saying, I'm not going to sacrifice more mutants to help you guys. And they're like, dude, the whole world is covered in... This is not just a human mutant thing.
That makes sense for me from Magneto, though.
It does make sense for Magneto.
If any of them are going to be like, nah, my mutants are my people, you ain't getting any more of them, it's going to be Magneto.
I give him that.
Yeah.
I do. But I'm just really biased.
Yeah, still,
I'm biased
the
against
world is
these X-Men.
ending.
I know. No, I hate this part of the X-Men. They're just coming out of it now, thank goodness. But yeah, it was a bad time to be an X-Men fan. And we got Prince Namor as well. If you remember him from Black Panther 2. Yeah. Namor's here. And again, he had his own limited series about the adventures of this story. Everyone, there was Avengers, X-Men, Fantastic Four. They all had their King in Black tie-in stories. So Namor rocks up and basically says, well, this guy's a king in black. Well, guess what? There's a whole lot of darkness in the ocean and there's some funky things down there. So I'm going to go find them and we're going to go fight this thing. But that's a whole separate issue going on there.
Yes.
And Tony Stark, the mad scientist that he is, he's got a plan of his own as well. Because what's kind of fun with Tony, is
So
that
cool.
they move Tony's engineering skills on with the real world.
Yeah.
So what the big thing nowadays isn't just like mechanics, but it's biohacking. It's like people trying to play around with their bodies
Mess
and
up the
DNA and
DNA
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah. So Tony's technology now is pretty sort of physical. Like so he's got what's called the extremis virus. They use this in Iron Man 3 a little bit.
Virus?
Well, it's called a virus, but it's like it's a thing that he uses.
In the when you say it's already in the movies.
Iron Man 3.
Yes.
Yeah, so they like inject themselves and it's kind of like a nanotech.
Yep.
There you go.
I'm with
So
you.
it's like a nanotech virus thing. So his suit is kind of like, comes out of his bones and
just
stuff. And
appears and disappears.
yeah.
you.
So he's like, what if, let me spitball this. What if I got one of those symbiote dragons and turned it into one of my bioorganic suits?
And that's why he looks so cool.
What if I did that? Yeah. So that's exactly what he does. He's like, okay, well, let's try and use Knull's creatures against him. I'm going to make a bioorganic symbiote Iron Man armor, which is as cool as it sounds.
That's such a long title.
They're going to workshop it, I'd imagine. That's just the first stage.
The work in progress.
So he rocks up. He's like, okay, well, at least I've got something to fight Knull with now. Eddie Brock, on the other hand, he's at death's door. He hasn't got long to go.
Oh, Chotomate won't go back.
Oh, go. Oh, sorry, go down.
Oh,
That's
too
all
far
right.
back.
No.
Down.
There we go. Chotomate.
Is this Venom that's been pulled off Eddie, but Venom's still hanging around?
This and again, this is me. It's like, careful, Dave. Your ignorance is showing.
Oh.
I did read this in advance, but I mean, there's so much happening here. So there is a symbiote here, but I don't think it's necessarily Eddie's symbiote.
Okay.
And actually, I think it might be like one that Knull put in Eddie, because it's like, well, you're either going to die when I drop you, or I'm going to control you. So it's one of the. So this is a sinister symbiote.
Oh, he's not on our side.
No, he's not, because Knull has ripped Eddie's nice symbiote away from him. But that's where Dylan Brock comes in.
Ba-ba-ba.
Bum, and Dylan Brock senses the darkness in this symbiote. And he's like, oh, guess what? Yeah, I got psychic Superman symbiote powers. And he blasts.
So was everybody else thinking the black Venom-looking stuff was still Venom?
I think, yeah.
Then Dylan's like, nah.
Yeah, Dylan's like, oh, yeah, turns out I'm a lot more powerful than you realise. So yeah, Dylan realises he has this connection to the hive and the mind, and so not only can he distinguish that this is like an evil Knull symbiote, he can evaporate it with the powers that he has inside him. So all of a sudden, the good guys have an ace up their sleeve.
And he's
in
never done
Dylan
this.
Brock.
This is like his first time using this ability.
Exactly.
Ooh,
Yeah.
surprise.
So he's gone from being this innocent child that everyone has to protect to being like, oh, we might have like a weapon here.
So did no one think he had anything special?
No,
in
because
him?
at this stage, he was still just Eddie's kid.
Okay.
Unless there's people watching this who are like, no, but Dave, no, he did a thing before. And I'd be like, no, not that I can
Focused
remember.
on this bit.
Yeah, we're going for the overall
With
feeling rather than the specifics, all right? So, yeah, we're on to issue 3 of 5 of King in Black now. Things are picking up. Eddie Brock is at death's door. And actually, there's a separate Venom series that tells, like, tie-in stories to this. And right now, while all of this is going on in New York, Eddie Brock's mind is in the symbiote hive, and he's communicating with different people in the hive. There's a whole separate thing going on, but we could be here all day. So the heroes are doing what they can do to try and recoup and figure out what they're going to do next. And Dylan is just, his power is starting to radiate.
He looks really cool.
Out of him. He's getting another thing that was introduced with this story is the spiral. That became like a symbiote sort of thing, is this spiral kind of design. So yeah, he's exhibiting these spirals in his eyes. He's next level, basically. Yeah. And the heroes just go back out to try and save whoever they can do. We got great little splash pages like Spider-Man and Wolverine. Such a great little combination. Peter Parker, of course, he has his own stories in his comics, but they're starting to lose the fight. Captain America taken over by a symbiote. Yeah, and when Cap gets taken, you're like, oh no. This is not a good sign. Oh yeah, that's where you start to realize, like, oh Jesus, the fat lady warming up. Yeah, this is worrying. But we get another good example of Dylan Brock being like, no, nah. I'm better. I can do this.
Is he gonna give us Captain America back?
Well, maybe. I mean, we got 2 more issues to go.
Oh, okay.
It remains to be seen. But luckily, we do have Thor.
Yay!
We got the Thunder God himself. This is where we start to bring in the big guns.
Big ones.
The heavy hitters. Because Captain America, yes, Dylan Brock managed to release him from the symbiote. And now Thor's coming in. So we're like, okay, yeah, cavalry's here.
Sorry.
Okay, we can start to relax a little bit. And interestingly, Knull, because he's like a god, he has like ancient backstory with Thor, like going back millennia.
Love that.
They've been going at it for years, or millennia. I said it. Yeah. So they've got a whole beef between themselves as well. But yeah, we have a great throwdown between Knull and Thor. Thor's wailing on him with Mjolnir.
I love the wings.
The wings are so wicked.
Yeah.
They're really, really cool. Funnily enough, since this is an action figure channel, I'll mention action figures. We got a Knull action figure. He's not on my shelf. I'm sorry. And he came in a 2-pack with Venom. But what was really annoying was Venom had detachable wings that you could put on Venom. And we're like, can you not put them on Knull as well?
I feel like they belong on Knull probably more than Venom.
Exactly. Venom has used wings as well. But what was really annoying was when I was doing my review of the figure, I still remember, I was like, it would be so good if like Knull had the wings. And so many Johnny-come-latelys were like, yeah, but Knull doesn't have wings. I present you King in Black issue number 3.
Right there.
Where Knull has the wings. Thank you. I said good day, sir. So yeah, Thor is actually, he's doing great actually. He's bringing the fight.
Doing the Lord's work.
He's bringing the fight. And I have had enough! Yeah, Thor's terrific. I love Thor. Unfortunately, great isn't good enough. Because even though...
Is he gone?
Yeah, Knull manages to stab Thor through the chest with his sword, which is called the All Black, which is essentially just this sword that he has manifested out of just pure darkness. Yeah, it is. It's kind of a game breaker, to be honest. It's a bit BS. To be fair, bit OP. Yeah. He just took all the stats up on that one. But don't worry, we're gonna get some fun OP weapons at the end of this. So yeah, Thor is taken out of the equation for now, but coming in to make the save, Tony Stark on his symbiote Cyber Dragon. Whew!
That's really cool.
You remember that extremis-infected symbiote I got hold of? Well, since the kid freed it from its hive, we've been getting along a little better. So yeah, Dylan Brock freed... that because I forget all these different things. Dylan Brock was able to free different symbiotes from the hive mind.
Yes.
So they're not all being controlled by Knull.
So we got some on our team?
Exactly.
Or are they, okay.
Or at least Symbiote Dragon Boy.
Yes.
We got Symbiote Dragon Boy in our team. And also, we got a pair of Celestials as well. So the tide is starting to turn a little bit. And yeah, so the Celestials, I think they might not be alive. I think they might be like piloted, like controlled by the symbiotes. But that's little extra details. We don't need to worry too much about that because the Silver Surfer's coming.
Yay!
I'm a big Silver Surfer fan.
I only know the movies, but I know when he was in the I think that Fantastic Four movie with Silver Surfer was probably my favorite of that.
It actually was a good Fantastic Four. Like the Fantastic Four movies, not great, but that Silver Surfer was decent. Yeah. It really, really was. Yeah, and so Thor, that was it. When Thor got impaled by the All Black, he sent his 2 ravens. I always get their names, like Hugin and Mugin. They're actually, but I also like Thuggin and Buggin or something.
No, we'll keep Hugin and Mugin.
But they are actually like that is Norse mythology. Nice. Odin has 2 ravens that like do his bidding. So Thor sent Hugin and Mugin out into the cosmos to find the Silver Surfer.
Hugin and Mugin.
Because Silver Surfer is a game breaker. Like he is possessed of the power cosmic. If anyone's going to be able to take out Knull, it's the Silver Surfer. So again, we're bringing in the backup as we enter issue number 4, and so here we find Dylan Brock. Yes. And this is a representation of the symbiote hive mind that he's in. It does look badass, doesn't it? Yeah, I know. So now he's communicating with Knull in the symbiote hive mind, and Knull is like so many cliches of like, we're not so different, you and I.
Or stroking a cat, turning around on a chair.
This cat is also a symbiote. So yeah, he's given him the sales shtick.
Being like, but you could always just join me.
Literally, take
so cool over
take
here.
my hand. You can have fabulous hair too. Yeah, so Dylan's like, well, I might be a little bit tempted. Not psych. So yeah, you kind of come to expect that. But I mean, it's a fun little cliche to have. And also, like, that's the great thing about evil. It should be seductive.
And we need to have, I think it's good with those characters that you don't actually necessarily... Because he's still a new dude. He's not, like, got these, like, thousands and thousands worth of history behind him. You need to have a moment where you can see that he's, like, actively choosing good, rather than just, I happen to fall in the good side because Eddie's my dad.
Y'all just put that so much better than I would have in this description. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so you give him the actual moment, that character-defining moment. So yeah, Dylan, the only thing is, even to a point... Like, it's a little bit scary as to how powerful Dylan Brock is. And it's like, oh, can we... It's like, you're okay, kid. Like, let's not annoy the terrifyingly powerful child.
Let's annoy him.
Yeah, well, Knull certainly has. So Dylan kind of blasts Knull out of the symbiote hive mind. Mm-hmm. Just kicks him to the curb, kind of... Gives him a reality check for a second. He's like, okay, you're not as powerful as you think you are. All right?
So he's not... bad guy out of the hive mind.
I think Knull still sort of has access to the hive mind. This was just in their little confrontation.
Oh, okay.
He's like, well, at least you have to walk back in.
It's just a thing, like, that's the end of the conversation.
Yeah, end of the conversation. Yeah, mic drop. Yeah. So this kind of gives the heroes a second wind. Which is great. And we get a cool little moment with Doctor Strange here.
Nice.
Where Doctor Strange has kind of an alternate sort of form as well. He has his OP level, where he's not just the Sorcerer Supreme, but the god of magic. So we just have a little hero moment with Doctor Strange being like, okay, well, it's no longer time to bargain. So again... One thing I love about Marvel's big epic event comics is you have these great sort of just hero moments. Cyclops takes off the visor. That's when you know it's game on. It's like, no, I don't need the filter. We're going to go unfiltered Cyclops here. Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, she's wrecking shop. The God of Magic, Doctor Strange.
It's the onomatopoeia for me.
The Zark.
Bwah!
Fwash!
Yeah.
It's wonderful. It really, really is. And you just get these huge big splash pages. Namor is back with these creatures from the deep.
Do they fly?
I don't know if they fly, but I mean, they look cool.
Okay.
It's good enough.
I'm with you.
I mean, if anything, it's going to look nice in the group photo at the end.
Yeah.
So again, Namor had his own mini-series where we followed him recruiting all these guys, but now he's just rocking up here. So yeah, Namor's bringing the cavalry, and he's just like launching this tidal wave at New York, taking out the symbiotes, and it's just a case of the heroes working together, being amazing.
Do we know what's happening to the humans in this situation? How are they doing?
It's so fun where they have these mega events, and you're like, where are the millions of people of New York? And it's like
is anybody getting to work?
They're at home, I guess. Work from home day. That's what it is. It's work from home day. Yeah, I think you look out the window, it's like, giant symbiote dragons.
Log into your laptop.
Yeah, I'm gonna just call in.
Call out.
Yeah.
Tell your boss you're sick.
There's always gonna be that one guy who turns up to work and it's like, well, I got here. It's like, oh, good for you. So yeah, the heroes are making their big comeback. That's what this is all about here. And Knull, like he's on the ropes. He's struggling a little bit. He's feeling it because Dylan Brock has never existed before. This combination of human and symbiote and immaculate conception, all that stuff. He doesn't know what to do with it. And this is where Phoenix comes in. Right? This is Jean Grey in her OG, well, not totally OG, but really old school retro costume. And I love Jean Grey because she's just such a powerful mutant, like just insanely powerful. So much so that they have to nerf her for a lot of stories. It's like, well, why can't she just fix this with a click of her fingers? It's like, oh, because X, Y, and Z.
Complete sidetrack. I never watched the new movies that had Phoenix.
Oh yeah.
I never watched them because I was just too afraid, because I really liked the more OG X-Men movies. Again, I don't know the comics, but I really liked what they did with her.
Oh, yeah.
And Hugh Jackman Wolverine.
Oh,
I loved that movie, and I don't want a chance going in.
No, it's not good. You're not missing anything. No.
I heard there's like a whole lot of
honestly,
retcons and stuff.
The best thing, the best example to watch is like the '92 animated show. That's the Phoenix Saga right there. But yeah, so she's like, okay, Knull, let me just like, okay, everyone's had a go. It's time for me to step step up. What's great though is we have another one of those character moments where she goes into his mind and then is terrified when she realizes that the King in Black, the God of Darkness, doesn't have any particular fear or anxiety that she can prey on or exploit or anything, because he's just blackness. There's nothing there. Except she realizes, we get into the end game here.
Finding a weakness.
He's the King in Black, and of course the universe is built on balance. So there's got to be an opposite. There's got to be a counter to the King in Black.
Flaboom.
Flaboom. That's not their first name. But this is something I thought was really, really cool. Very, very clever writing going on here. Because for decades, also, Knull has like fortified himself in some badass armor and whatnot. So for decades and decades in the comic books, there's been this thing called the Enigma Force, and it is essentially just this like ball of energy, of light, that will come to Earth and it will possess someone in times of great crisis, and it will give them the power to defeat it. And so Spider-Man very famously got the Enigma Force once, and he stopped this disaster. And so just once in a blue moon, this Enigma Force will come to Earth.
So like, hey, I'll help you out.
Exactly, yeah. It's like, oh, bad stuff's happening. Let me pitch in. And this is where it's revealed. The writers kind of retcon this. They're like, well, wait a minute. Well, what if the Enigma Force is the opposite of Knull? So the Enigma Force, they're like, well, it comes and it possesses people. It's a symbiote. Yeah. That's what it is. The Enigma Force is a symbiote.
Oh, nice.
So they realize that's the opposite of Knull. And actually, what has been trying to happen is that the Silver Surfer has been trying to break through to Earth because Knull encompassed it in a symbiote. So the Silver Surfer, now we're getting our ducks in a row. The heroes are all lining up.
It's all coming up roses.
Thank goodness. So the Silver Surfer is able to break through the symbiote covering the Earth, because this little ball of light, this is the Enigma Force. And what's great is that, you know, the Enigma Force comes to the Silver Surfer and he's like, okay, are we going to do this? And then it doesn't bond to the Silver Surfer, and he's like, oh, there's someone else.
So who's it going to bond with? Dylan.
No, but who's at death's door right now?
Eddie.
Boom! There you go. Just in time for the final issue of King in Black. So we got Eddie Brock lying in his hospital bed, just about to flatline, when all of a sudden the Enigma Force bonds with Eddie Brock. And we're ready for the final issue of the King in Black right here. So we've got Knull. He's standing what he believes to be triumphant when the Silver Surfer comes down. He's like, oh, you've beaten all of these guys, but you're not beating the power cosmic yet. So the Silver Surfer rocks up. And also, one thing that's really cool is he's got his surfboard. But the whole thing is like, it's only a surfboard because he made it that. He can make it into whatever he wants. So he makes it into this gigantic cosmically powered broadsword that he can go and take on Knull with when all the heroes come back as well. So it's that huge big moment of, okay, everybody in the pool.
Did I miss a thing? How come we've got Captain America back?
That was what, and again, you probably didn't miss a thing, but I jumped over a thing. That was, I think, you know what? That was probably when Dylan Brock blasted Knull out of the symbiote hive mind.
Some other people out as well.
That's what it was. And there are people watching this going, no, Dave, it wasn't. It was in the mini-series. You, oh, for God's sakes.
Let it be.
Let it be. Let it be. There, John Lennon said it best.
Words of wisdom, let it
go. Thank you. So, in these times of trouble, the X-Men, the Avengers, Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, they're all coming to the party being led by the Enigma-powered Eddie Brock.
Who still looks like Venom.
Yeah, now, again, I think in Eddie Brock's miniseries that we weren't, well, not miniseries, but ongoing series that tied into this, he got the symbiote back when he was in the hive mind. Again, real hard for me to break down.
I'm letting it be.
Yeah. The important thing is, let it be. Just go John Lennon this thing, okay? We're going to John Lennon it. He's got his symbiote back. That's the important thing. Again, the people who know the story really well who watch this going like, geez, Dave, it's not that hard, actually. Like, you could have explained it so much easier.
It's all right. I'm with it.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. So Eddie Brock steps up, and he's such a baller moment. He's got the Enigma Force now, which is just the omnipotent game-breaking power.
I like that he's got like the same design, but just gold instead of red.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, Thor, Silver Surfer, I'm gonna need these things. So first of all, Mjolnir.
Yes.
You know the gimmick with Mjolnir.
Only the ones who are worthy.
You gotta be worthy. And this is a beautiful moment because Eddie Brock has always thought that he's not worthy. Yeah. He's always thought that he's a failure. He's, Spider-Man cost him his job and his apartment and his health and all this kind of thing. And he's always been a failure. And now he's lifting Mjolnir.
Yay.
And it's like, it's my boy!
Yeah.
It's my boy, Eddie! So he's lifted Mjolnir, he's got the Silver Surfer's broadsword, and he clangs them together to make this giant battle axe. And he's like, oh, it's on like Donkey Kong now. So, yeah, Knull is in big trouble. Brock comes in, he's swinging for the fences, he lops off the heads of the symbiote dragons. The symbiote, it's celestial.
Gone.
Yeah, whoop, gone. Pinky flick.
Slice.
Pinky flick, slice, sinks the axe into Knull's chest. And for what it's worth, I've gone through this very quickly. Knull had a good run. Okay, he was a badass.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he's now dealing with the Enigma Force. And in a great little twist, it's now Venom holding Knull from the top of a building. And he's like, oh,
I remember this.
Bit of a Lion King moment. Ah, isn't this familiar? So, yeah, he's got him banged to rights, basically. So it's time for Knull's final curtain call exit. And then just to make sure that we don't want to leave anything to chance here. This is comic books. We don't want people coming back. So Eddie Brock takes Knull to the surface of the sun and burns him into nothingness. Because possessing the Enigma Force, he's fine.
You're fine in the sun if you've got the Enigma.
Exactly. He's fine. Knull is absolutely vaporized into nothingness.
Gone?
He hasn't come back yet.
Yes.
This series came out in 2021. 2021. This came out. We haven't seen Knull back yet. In a fun little aside, a little epilogue here, we got Blade and the vampires. And so in Blade's spin-off series, he actually had to go and try and recruit the vampires to help them. Because he's like, yo, okay, we hate each other, but symbiotes are taking over the world. We need to work together.
But the vampires turned up just after the day's been won.
You know what? I think they were fighting the good fight in Blade's series. But what's kind of nice is that with Knull defeated, the vampires like, hey, now's our time, baby. But guess what? With Knull defeated, the symbiote barrier around the Earth disappears, and Blade's like, what time of day is it?
You're gone. You're done.
So the vampires all get dusted instantly as soon as the there you go. Yeah, and a very satisfied looking Blade right there. And then Eddie Brock, being the good dude that he is, he returns Mjolnir to Thor and the board back to the Silver Surfer, and he comes to take care of Dylan because one thing that happened. A lot of things happened I didn't probably mention.
Dylan's not well, is he?
Dylan's
now?
not good because Knull has put this like symbiote sort of darkness in him.
Oh.
Luckily, there's only one person who can fix that, and that's the new King in Black. Because Venom is now officially the god of the symbiotes.
Hey!
Eddie Brock, from zero to hero,
just like
our
that.
boy is the King in Black.
With wings!
With wings! And that's how Venom got his wings.
Hey.
And that's the King in Black.
Oh! Goodness gracious.
Man, Charlotte,
What
thank you so much. This was a blast.
Thank you! Sorry, I'm still looking at all this.
That's a good splash page to finish on, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Gorgeous.
So I think, is it safe to say this just give you a little sort of new perspective on the character of Venom?
It solidifies that he's my favourite.
You know what?
Solidified.
That's all I needed to
and
know.
knowing that he gets to be king of the symbiotes. Because I know in the, obviously I only go off the movies.
Mm-hmm.
What's the newest bunch of movies with Venom?
Oh, just the Venom movies with Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, yeah.
Awful.
What was I thinking? Yes, but I kind of like how in that movie you get the hints of like Venom's actually like the loser of the symbiotes.
Yes.
He's like we think.
Oh my
he's all,
God,
like,
we were a loser.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, jeez.
we think he's this like big scary thing, and Venom's like actually there's a whole bunch of other dudes.
Well, that's actually kind of the sweet thing about Eddie Brock and his symbiote is that his symbiote was shunned from the other symbiotes because it wanted to bond equally with its host.
It wanted
Whereas
to be
the other symbiotes were like, no, we're just going to take over this thing and like we're going to joyride this thing. So that's why actually it wasn't like it was an outcast.
I
so
love Venom.
It did kind of fit. Venom's wicked.
I want to give him a hug.
Venom's great. So yeah, I'm glad that I could share this with you.
Thank you. And
You're
look,
welcome.
And now all the humans get to go to work.
And the humans could go to
work.
work. I'm sure there are some people who are like just playing Minecraft and a little bit high. And they're like, oh, geez, do I have to? Oh, come on, really? Isn't there any other existential crisis happening?
Can I just stay here?
All right, well, guys, thank you so much for watching.
Thank
Charlotte,
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I
for being
feel
a
like
part
I've
of this.
learned so much more about my favourite.
It's been a pleasure. And I managed to get that done in less than an hour. That's not bad going.
Record
It's surprisingly
time.
concise for me. Gang, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
Cup of coffee, have a cup of coffee.